This presentation is presented by Alexandra Menzie for MKG222 Marketing of Social Causes Task 3 on depression present among Australian university students. Depression has become a serious public health issue in Australia. As of 2008, there were over 3 million Australians living with depression or anxiety. More specifically, Australian university students face a higher likelihood of developing depression due to their extra burdens, which will be explained further throughout the presentation. Only 35% of people with a mental disorder sought help in 2009. This is just one of the issues that explains why an intervention needs to take place. The one-time behaviour I am suggesting is for university students to seek professional help when they are experiencing depression. For that to be achieved, an intervention needs to take place. Throughout the course of this presentation, I am going to define the specific strategies. Australian university students face lots of extra stresses, including academic, financial, and social pressures. With the addition of being at the most susceptible age for developing depression, the rates for the illness are rising. This social cause strategy targets Australian university students and aims to educate and encourage students to seek professional help when needed. Currently, negative stigma regarding mental illness and the attitude that those who seek help are weak is a social issue. An intervention plan to start a depression day on a few of the large university campuses in Australia aims to tackle those issues. Sponsors and stakeholders will help fund, advertise, and speak at the events, including Beyond Blue, Lifeline, and Delta Therapy Dogs. The days will be completely free, including free food, education, and activities, reducing any monetary barriers. Success of the day will be measured through a survey emailed to students after they attend the event. Potential ethical consequences are considered, including students diagnosing and treating themselves. This intervention strategy needs to take place as students nationwide will have negative attitudes towards seeking professional help, and if they are not intervened with early, there could be many present and lifelong issues. This is just the table of contents on the screen if you would like to read it for the rest of the presentation. The social cause and issue identified is depression among Australian university students. The target market has been chosen because students' mental health is at a higher risk due to academic pressures, living away from home, and financial burden. Currently, only 3.5% of students are using free mental health support systems that the universities offer. It has also been identified that nationally, nearly half of young Australians experience one or more depressive episodes before their mid-20s. Not receiving professional help promptly for depression can cause worsened academic performance, students dropping out of university, long-term workplace issues, relationship issues, and suicide. Past research identified that negative stigma was the biggest deterrent from seeking professional help. This stigma persuaded students to believe that professional care would be unhelpful and needy, as they would eventually get better over time. This led to self-stigma, meaning negative attitudes are believed and then applied to themselves. Sweden has actually managed to successfully improve the stigma by having a greater focus on raising awareness. The behaviour change required is the one-time behaviour of students seeking professional help when they are experiencing a depressive episode. Barriers that will be discussed later in this presentation reduce willingness for students to seek professional help. The reason for only encouraging the one-time behaviour is that 70% of people who attend their first therapy session then continue to return. And the main reason that others don't return is because they've had their problems dealt with in that one session. The theory of planned behaviour was also used to understand and was applied to this social cause. From the past research, attitude, which is highlighted on the framework, was found to be the biggest predictor of intention. The most common attitudes among students were that professional help would not be beneficial and that they would struggle to open up to a therapist. Negative stigma had a direct effect on students' attitudes. Most students who did use the professional services had a positive experience, but they did not share this with any other students. Education was identified as helping form positive attitudes towards getting professional help. Perceived behaviour control is also important, but not used for this intervention. It had the control that students believe they had over the situation. The conceptual framework shows that both personal stigma and self-efficacy improve an individual's perceived behaviour control. Education through online mental health forums improved individuals' perceived behaviour control, being aware of options in regards to professional help, improved by self-confidence and PBC. Due to not having as much impact on intention, this aspect of the framework will not be focused on for this intervention plan. 3 intervention plans were developed to encourage the one-time behaviour of students seeking professional help. The first intervention would encourage students to receive online mental health support. This focused on building individuals' perceived behaviour control. The second intervention is for universities to email educational mental health flyers weekly to students. This intervention focuses on improving attitudes and perceived behaviour control. The chosen intervention is that universities Australia-wide hold a Depression Awareness Day. This intervention focuses on reducing the negative stigma and creating more positive attitudes behind seeking professional help. The intervention plan that was chosen is to educate students and encourage the one-time behaviour of seeking help from a mental health professional. This intervention is midstream as it occurs within an organisation, which is the university. The intervention is aimed at the target market, university students. To ensure maximum outcomes, the event will be made convenient and pleasant. Also, accessibility, psychological and time barriers will be minimised. The intervention plan is to hold Depression Awareness Days at some of Australia's large university campuses. Students will receive education about depression and a simple step guide of how to receive psychological help. Self-help talks discussing techniques such as mindfulness, free food, games, and there will also be therapy dogs there, thanks to Delta Dog Therapy. This proposal will take place nationwide. They will take place with the assistance of the Australian Government, funding, and various partners and stakeholders that will be discussed later on. The intervention aims are to increase understanding and education of depression and also to encourage seeking professional help among university students. This includes reducing the barriers such as negative stigma and creating a more positive attitude surrounding mental health. Also to increase understanding of where and how someone can receive help. These 4 steps need to be taken that are in the orange boxes on the right. So the first one is educated on depressive symptoms and help-seeking options, then identify when experiencing a depressive episode, then have the attitude that this is common and normal, and then the behaviour actually seeking professional help. So to help with the financial support, there'll be Mental Health Australia, the Australian Government, and Beyond Blue. These organisations have been chosen because all three of them focus on the same message that is trying to be given at the Depression Awareness Day. The days will also include talks and educational tools from Headspace, Lifeline, and the Black Dog Institute. And then at the actual event, Woolworths will be supplying the food, making it free, and Delta Society will bring along therapy dogs to help with anyone that's struggling. So for the product strategy, the core product is education on receiving professional help for depression and the symptoms. The actual product is information on where to receive psychological help, education to be able to identify a depressive episode, and the augmented product is have a more positive outlook on depression and getting mental health care, reassurance from others, and self-help tools. The price strategy is that there should be limited monetary costs and barriers, so it's a free event, but it could cost for transport to the university and for parking. However, parking could be made free to reduce this cost. And then for the non-monetary costs and barriers, stigma, the fear of being judged by fellow students. To help resolve this, there'll be trusted sponsors speaking at the events and a safe environment created where everyone is welcome. The effort, so basically that individual's time investment. There are incentives that we'll have, including free food, useful education and games, and then the actual discomfort of attending the event, which we've tried to reduce with therapy dogs. The place of this intervention is physical locations because they are going to be held at university campuses, close to where the target audience, students, live. Students are already on campus for uni and social events, making attending the event much easier. They will run from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m, giving everyone a chance to make it, even if they have work or uni. We'll give out information that students can keep and refer to in the future. Talks from Headspace about mindfulness, talks from Crisis Hotline, Lifeline, talks about the steps to receive professional help from the Black Dog Institute, and therapy dogs will be there. The message will be positively framed, as someone experiencing depression is less likely to want to read a sad poster with scary statistics that could make the situation worse. The type of appeal that the strategy will use is emotional appeal. This has been chosen because the poster will have a quote about depression on it that many students will be able to relate to. The message that will be communicated is that if you come to the event, you'll be able to receive education on depression and information on professional help in a secure and safe environment. The aim of the promotion is for university students to attend the events and actively take part in discussions and activities. They need to know and believe that the environment is non-judgmental and the attitude towards seeking professional help is positive. The message will be positioned on a poster that will be put up around campuses holding the events. It will also be shared on Instagram, as a majority of university students use Instagram frequently. Other than the posters, Beyond Blue and Headspace will be messengers and share an online version to Instagram. This is because these organizations are professional, highly regarded, and credible. Additionally, Beyond Blue has 61,000 followers and Headspace has 441,000 followers and is verified, allowing the message to be reached nationally. Some of the organizations sponsoring the event will also be included on the poster to add more credibility. This is a mock-up of the poster that will be put up around campus and also shared on Instagram. The creative strategy needs to be easily read to ensure students can read the posters around campus. The goal of the strategy is for students to read the poster and acknowledge the event information. For this to happen, the poster is colourful and attention-grabbing. As the two messenger sponsors will feature on the poster, it is then the aim that the individual will go to Instagram and be able to save the information to their phone by just taking a screenshot. Hopefully this will reach almost 75% of the target audience, as the posters will be hung around the university 2 weeks before the day that the event is happening at each university. The frequency of exposure depends on how often each student attends uni and if they then choose to go and visit the Instagram pages. The idea is that the students are reminded of the day multiple times a week, as the posters will be present all over campus. The cost of achieving this promotion should be minimal. This is because the sponsors that are helping out with the day are actually going to cover the financial costs of the posters being printed and the graphic designer. And the messengers are sponsors themselves, meaning that will be completely free. Also, the target audience are digital natives, meaning that social media is a great way to gain their attention. The intervention will now go through evaluation. Although the common attitude towards mental health in general was negative, it is not completely certain that the attitude found in the literature towards seeking professional help is accurate. The behaviour change, seeking professional help when experiencing depression, is not a behaviour that the target market often thinks about. This is why the intervention promotion must be frequent and eye-catching. Some barriers will still remain present, such as not trusting their therapist. This strategy does not eliminate the barrier, but it does improve attitudes, which was identified using the theory of planned behaviour, and also educates students. Environmental factors such as weather may disturb the event. The intervention may not be suitable for some students who have anxiety towards social events and crowds. A survey is going to be emailed to students who attend after the next day after the event. The purpose is to see if the event was useful and if they felt safe. The main purpose of the survey is to ask the question, with what you know now, would you go and seek professional help if needed? So this is just the evaluation table with the 3 phases. If you'd like to pause and read it. The ethical considerations for the events are that once given education about depression and self-help tools, students may decide that they can diagnose and treat themselves. The aim is that they go to see a professional. Despite our best efforts to make the days as safe and non-judgmental as possible, it may still result in individuals not attending because of their negative attitudes. Students may misunderstand information presented by professionals. This could lead to them going on and spreading wrong information to their friends. The event could appear too overwhelming and scary to some students, as there will be a lot of authority figures present. Thank you for listening to my presentation, highlighting the need to take action in regards to university students not seeking professional help for depression. I am looking for your approval to go ahead with this intervention plan of having depression education days at large universities in Australia, just once a year. I discussed the aims of this intervention being educating students and encouraging them to seek help and to be able to notice the symptoms when experiencing depression. This all will be done by changing their attitudes, the significant element identified from the theory of planned behaviour, and, in a whole, for universities to improve their attitudes towards psychological health. Hopefully, if the result of these days are successful, then they can be implemented more often and in more universities across Australia. Thank you.